All right, here we are. We are live. Andy, in the background, I was holding up my little Lego guy.
I was about to say, where'd Mario
that music? That's 16-bit music, man, or 8-bit, or whatever that one is. This is one of my favorite Lego sets of all time. I have really cool ones that aren't built yet, but this one's really cool because, one, the first video game I ever owned, Super Mario World.
Same.
Also, look, Yoshi's feet move, his arm move.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And he sticks his tongue out.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
I love it, man. I love it. My 12-year-old would eat that up. He would love that.
Did he play that game?
Oh yeah, he's played it, and he is a Lego fanatic. So sometime we'll have to get him.
I just saw a recent article about the sprites used in that game in particular, and none of them, like, it's the most random art out there. Like, people did not. Who's calling me? Oh, our guest is calling me.
Hello, guest.
Hold on a minute. Oh, hello, CEO.
Hello, guest.
You're live on LinkedIn right now. Yeah, let me send you a link because we are currently live and I'm talking to you live on this live stream right now. It's a good time. Give me 1 second. I'll send you a link to get you in easier. Did I lose you? He just got really quiet, which means I think I made him embarrassed.
Oh, that's all good, man. No worries at all. That's great.
Okay. But I think he went to the LinkedIn page. So
yeah,
there you go. But before he comes in, before we bring in our guest, Andy, you have a video you want to show us to kick things off. Yeah.
So the topic today is what's worse than your password being password, right? So I found this video. Actually, I think I saw this for the first time maybe on Instagram, but I thought I would share it with the masses. This is a really good one.
Talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently? It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
So she doesn't want to give it up just yet, right? She's going to be a little, demure, like a little held back. Like, I'm just going to tell you generally what it is, right?
It's already bad.
I have a Chihuahua Papillon. And what's its name? Jameson. And where'd you go to school? I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. What school? Hempfield Area Senior High School. Wow. When did you graduate? In 2009. Oh, great.
And there it is, 20 seconds in. And
fun fact, she probably uses that password for lots of different accounts. So great. Glad that's on the internet for her sake. It's good times. And, I'm just going to bring him in, Andy, because he's internal anyway. So we got our CEO on the line today. We're going to have some fun talking about his expertise in all things related to all things, because Matt is, he's like a miniature Buddha covered in hair is how I would describe him. So we're bringing him in. Matt, what's up, man?
Man.
Welcome to the Hotcakes Laboratory.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll just start off by saying I'm really disappointed in myself for the fact that you guys have former art history teacher, Large Hobbit, and I just went with CEO of UKON. So if we can, we can.
It's okay. You're the only serious one here, apparently.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm disappointed in myself.
That's all good. Now, before we get into the serious stuff, let's talk about the stuff that matters first. Did I just see Sophie in the background there? Was that did I see the loaf herself walking around?
Yeah, anytime you can show off the corgi, I think it's probably what the people
nice.
want.
Yeah.
That's what the people want.
Yeah, they don't want the guy talking, they want the loaf. Yeah.
Wait.
So her name's Sophie, aka Loaf, because she's a loaf of bread.
She is. She's like, put me on program. Put me on program, Dad.
Dog.
Yeah.
I love it. Didn't expect dogs to be in this episode today.
Yeah, we were just talking over password security. We always start with the hot cake. So we were bringing you in my hot cake for the day. And again,
dude, that's exactly where I was gonna go. You stole my thunder. Yeah, I was like,
let's. I mean, it's been the hot topic, right? Why I went with former AP art history teacher as my tagline today, right? So apparently, if you've been living under a rock for the last week and you aren't aware of this, or last couple of weeks, the Louvre's crown jewels were physically stolen, right, from their display, and one of the thieves is still at large. And as the details of this tomfoolery, right, has come out, one of the things that somebody who had information very close to the source said that the Louvre's password to their video surveillance system was, in fact, Louvre, right? And
I thought it was like Louvre 1. Was it just Louvre?
Yes, just Louvre, not Louvre 1.
That's even better. Yeah, that's even better. Okay.
Well, they probably just thought no one was going to guess it, because if you said, "Hey, my password's Louvre," most people wouldn't spell it with an R.
That was the joke, was that it was protected, definitely password protected from most Americans who have no idea how to spell Louvre, right? But what got me about this article, I mean, and this is ABC, right? It's like, and whoever wrote the article is like completely tone deaf, or they're very sarcastic, which I either way is great.
Either one's great. Yeah.
You've got this picture of this guy that's like armed to the teeth, right, on the physical security side, and it's like, by God, we're not going to let anybody in here, you know. And then meanwhile, the video surveillance system password is the first thing that the hacker would guess, right? So anyway, not going to go through the whole article there, but just goes to show you how important the non-physical security is in combination with the physical security.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, man. That's a good example of that for sure.
It's the perfect example of the fact that oftentimes the biggest threat is the people. The biggest threat to your network are your own employees. It's interesting though, because you would think a museum that is housing extremely expensive and extremely valuable pieces of art and jewels and things like that would have better cybersecurity practices. But, you know, maybe not using a password manager. Probably about time they started.
You would also think JUR would have cyber insurance too. And I think, you know, I think we've had a couple of you would thinks over the last couple of months.
That leads me to play my favorite game. I wish I had a jingle that's like, you would think.
You have a favorite game?
Yeah. Matt, what do you think of burritos, but instead of meat on the inside, it's electronics?
Pass.
All right, that's fair.
Wait a minute. Is there going to be some type of hot sauce? I'm definitely a hot sauce guy. So
hot sauce tech. That's a good name for a cybersecurity company. Hot sauce technology. Come in and spice up your security life.
No, it's definitely, I would run with it.
All right, I got an article to share real quick. Let's see if this works, because half the time it doesn't. Share screen. Let's try. I had it queued up and then sure. Chrome tab. All right.
Andy figured it out, so if you can't.
That's right. If the Arkansan can get it, you can. Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. What is this one?
Okay, so this is interesting. Global cyber attacks surged in October 2025 amid explosive ransomware growth and rising Gen AI threats. So this one's not as funny as someone using password as password, but things are getting pretty bad out there in the cybersecurity space. And it's something that we've theorized. A lot of people have theorized with. You used to be able to pick out emails that were. It was a lot easier to pick out emails and texts from people who were trying to scam you, because it'd be really broken English. It would be kind of that same, "Oh, hi, are you there?" ? Like it was this, "Hey, it's Matt, your CEO. I'm in a meeting, but can you text me at this number that isn't mine?" Like it was that kind of stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We got a note from Tara Nelson, says, "Good thing we're all in tech, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good. It's good, but you know, it's funny because with the rising Gen AI threats, one of the things I brought with generative AI, a cyber criminal could draft an email or draft a text message that's a lot cleaner and a lot more. Now, granted, there are a couple of things about AI that, like when I see AI slop posted on LinkedIn, it kind of makes me cringe. Like when you got the M dashes everywhere and you've got the this. It's this.
Yeah.
It's not just this. It's a this. Like it's like, oh, this is clearly just written with AI. But at the same time, at some level, at some point, we're probably going to get to a stage here where those emails become really legit looking. So we have to learn to look out for other things. But some of these trends are crazy. So like this is really tiny. So I apologize to anyone watching. But this top bar is education. These are global average weekly cyber attacks per industry. Education in October saw 4,470 per week. That's wild. Second place was telecom at 2,500. So education, and from the insurance industry, we can kind of share very obviously that I'm not surprised by this, because schools tend to have both tough security and what I like to say are a bunch of little hackers running around. I used to be an Algebra 2 teacher at a boarding school, and the number of students who came up to me was like, "Hey, Mr. Brooks, you know I can get you Spotify for life." I was like, "How are you getting me Spotify for life?" "Oh, I found a back door." I was like, "This doesn't seem legal. You shouldn't be telling me about this."
So Will, I got a story specific to education. So the first company that I started was an ed tech company connecting different students around the world together, and had like this platform. Think of it as like this global LMS system that could work for the different students at the different universities. And I remember it vividly. It was like one morning, one of our engineers, he's like, "Hey man, like the system's down for this teacher. Like she said she can't log in." I was like, "Really?" So we start like uncovering it. I'm in the Django kind of back end. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I was like, well, there was this file that was uploaded that's like corrupting or, stuff and making it hard for people to log in. So it's, mind you, the students in this educator's class, they got to be like 15, maybe 16. And dude, we start looking into it, and some kid.
Oh, Matt got hacked.
Oh no. He's frozen.
Bye, Matt. Well, I think we lost him. So he probably used up all the bandwidth at the office just to be on this video for 12 minutes.
That's it.
And he was 2 minutes late. So we're just gonna hide him for a minute until he comes back. So I'll keep going through this, and then Matt can finish his story when he returns. So what's interesting here too, Latin America and North America tend to be pretty high up there. But Latin America led in weekly attacks, but then North America was up 18% from last year.
Oh, wow.
This time. So Africa was actually down 15%, which is wild. APAC was down 8%. Europe only went up 4%. So even though Latin America had the most weekly attacks, North America went up by almost 20%, which is absolutely wild. And a big part of that is like just looking at, like what we were saying, the generative AI stuff. I mean, it is so easy to fall for those scams. Yep. It's like you look at it, it's the kind of thing, I don't know, Andy, sometimes you have fun with cyber criminals over text messages. Like I do that too sometimes. And I know if someone's listening, they're saying, never respond to those people.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do
they'll put you on a list and your number is going to be one that they know is going to respond. And I'm like, yes, but what you don't understand is that responding is hilarious.
Yeah, so, and it really brings joy to my day. So sorry.
So much joy. But maybe it's going to be a problem when generative AI gets so good that I don't realize it's a scammer. But while they keep continually trying to convince me that they're some lonely female, 20 states away from me, and it's clearly not, I'm going to keep having fun. And my favorite story of that was when I literally just quoted The Princess Bride, Inigo Montoya's monologue about his father, and the person actually freaked out because they thought that I honestly thought that they killed my father, and they pushed back and said they had 6 fingers because they had the broken English thing, and I was like, "You have 6 fingers? Then you did kill my father!" And then it was so funny. So.
I mean, technically, we all have 6 fingers, right? I mean, like,
it's true.
Anyway, so yeah.
That's true. So here's another question of the day: is your thumb a finger?
Yeah.
Matt's here to answer it. Matt, is your thumb a finger?
That's where we went after you left.
Really? So I'm at the office. I was, for a number of reasons why I'm at the office, but one of them is like stable internet. Should be a thing, which it's
so
not.
You thought, yeah.
So I thought, is the thumb a finger? This is a hard one to figure out.
It has no context for why we're asking him this question, which is the best part.
I'm going to go with yes.
Oh.
I agree, by the way.
Nice. That's a very interesting perspective.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go ahead and...
You know what? We were all taught it was a finger most of our lives, and then you always have people who are like, it's not. Same with Pluto, right? Like, that's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Matt, you were telling us a story, and then you promptly were cut off. So if you could tell that story.
When did I drop?
Tara says, no, it's a digit. See, that's what I'm talking about. It gets confusing. Like, I don't know.
It's a phalange. It's not a finger.
Oh my gosh, a phalange.
Where did I get cut off? Well,
you were talking about how you had a company that was ed tech, and that's about as far as you got.
Okay. So I had an ed tech company. We were dealing with connecting students around the world together. And so we worked with the Goethe Institute, which was running an exchange program on the platform. Think of it as like an LMS, but it lived between like the different university or school systems, right? So the students could log in, communicate, work on projects. And one of the classes, the students must have been like 14, 15 years old. And they were sending like information back and forth to each other. And one of the mornings, my engineer hit me up. He's like, hey, man, we got an issue like this. The teacher can't log in and neither can any of the students. I was like, to this particular classroom like account. I was like, oh, that's very strange. So I get into Django. I'm looking through like our database and I'm like, oh, there was like this file uploaded that's like making it so they can't log in. Like it's corrupting stuff. Like what's going on? Some 14-year-old kid like rickrolled us. I clicked on the video and it was just like Rick doing his little dance video and stuff. And I was like, okay, all right. So we had to go in and clean that up. But I just remember I was like, these 14-year-olds are smarter than we think, man.
Pretty good at what they do, huh?
Like, yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about, go on, Andy.
No, I was just saying education is tough, man. I mean, like I know, Will, when you go through that, it may be surprising to some people when you think about like healthcare and manufacturing and like all the data they hold, or you can really, you can get a manufacturer by the gonad, so to speak, and say, hey, like if you're not pushing your stuff, you're not making money, you got to pay this ransom. So like, why is education up there? And it really is sometimes the lowest hanging of the fruit. There's a ton of PII available. And on top of that, I know from my personal experience, this is where the former AP art history teacher comes in directly. At one point, I was at the fourth largest high school in the state of Arkansas. I think we had two IT guys. And that was like for the school district K to 12, and it was like, understaffed, underfunded, usually don't invest a whole lot in cybersecurity. And I mean, thousands and thousands of records that you can access fairly easily.
And where my brain goes though, Andy, is like, we're talking about AI and we're talking about just cybercrime in general. So one of the things that just blew my mind, Will, is that like cybercrime's up to 10 trillion. I think it's growing faster than a lot of countries' GDP, but it would be considered the third largest economy in the world. Yeah. Right. It's like, okay. And then you add in, AI powered attacks and deep fakes and automated phishing and software supply chain issues. And it just gets worse, not better. But yes, AI can help when it comes to like making those phishing emails sound, legit, which we do know that human beings are kind of the first ones in order to let people in. But one of the things that came to mind is Andy and I met with an MSSP earlier this week. And he the way that he laid it out, kind of a light bulb went off because I knew this, but I think he articulated it really well. He's like, a lot of these hackers, it's just opportunity. Like they're not actually going after anyone. They're just like sitting there and they're running like these AI attacks on like, if they don't have certain ports blocked or what have you, like they'll go into it. So they don't care what business they hack into. That's why no small or medium-sized business is protected, right? And why this kind of narrative, like, why would someone want to hack into my cupcake shop? It's just like, doesn't matter if you don't have
cupcakes for life. We have
people, exactly, or donuts. Would be better, but it's fine. I'll take a cupcake.
Matt, who makes donuts at a cupcake shop? Come on. Well, I forgot. You're in Denver. I'm in New York. You have your isolated thing. This is what we do here. We make cupcakes. So
you guys make good cupcakes potentially. Here, like you have to branch out.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, it's just the opportunity. I'm wondering if it's like they're actively going after these universities and K through 12 systems, right, Andy and Will, or if they're just like, well, these ones are just not protected, and we set some bot up, and it's scraping the internet and finding out that they're the most vulnerable, right?
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're in sales, it's really easy to data scrape. It's probably just as easy for these guys to data scrape. That's really what it comes into. It doesn't mean. I mean, okay. Not to scare everyone, but your social security number is probably out there on the dark web. It just is. If it isn't, I'd be very surprised. But at the same time, they don't need that information in order to get you caught up in a phishing scam or to do something like this, right? Like they can just find out what machines you're using. They can find out what your name is, what your email address is, what your phone number is, and they can text you and email you and try to get access to your systems that way. And that's where, you know, like we said at the beginning, or what the name of this is, what's worse than making your password. I mean, that is exactly it, right? It's this understanding of good cyber hygiene and why it's so important that people take the time to learn even the most basic elements of how to protect yourself and what to look out for when it comes to these things. Because you know, as an employee, you're a liability risk, but also on a personal level, like the hackers aren't stopping at the business level. I mean, they're going to send stuff to personal numbers, personal emails. Like they don't care, you know, that, like you said, Matt. So that's a major point that's so important. I always treat it, you know, like back in the day when they would fish, they wouldn't be using fishing poles off the side of the boat. They'd be casting wide nets and pulling in whatever they could and then sorting it out after. Right. So it's the same concept. That's why they call it fishing in the first place. At least I'm convinced that's why. There's spear fishing. They literally call it spear fishing because it's very targeted. But generic fishing is just saying we're throwing this stuff out there and we're going to try and catch whatever we can. And we can do it really quickly now because AI builds the entire spreadsheet for us, builds out the mail merge for us, builds out the text message merge for us. We just plug it into our ransomware as a service software, which is a thing, and we just send it all out, right? Like it's wild how easy it probably is. And another point you brought up, and sorry I'm talking a lot, but this is where my nerd stuff comes. Also, Caden Brawley is here. Caden, what's up, man? Hello.
Hey, Caden.
He's one of our cyber elite partners, kicking butt down in Texas, and he
went to my alma mater. He went to Texas A&M. So
another Aggie. Yeah, we don't have enough of you guys around.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't understand the aggression towards Aggies from you, Andy, but I'm not even going to ask that question because it'll go on for a long time. So instead, what I want to talk about is when we think of password hygiene, when we think of our ability to recognize threats and just how easy it is to be targeted. Wes Spencer, good friend of ours, a lot of us here, he's brought up like just because you're a small business doesn't mean they're not going to target you. I mean, like think of it this way: if I was a hacker and and this is probably something I don't understand, but I'm going to put it on here because it's not my purview, but it sounds like a joke that's going to make Andy laugh, so I'm just going to put it in there.
I mean, I don't know where you're going with this, Will, but the first thing that comes to mind is just the risk to reward or the effort to reward ratio.
That's
like if I can get something and not spend a whole bunch of time getting it because it's that easy, I'll
that's
do that
exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
And also, like, think about it. Like a 10,000. Yes, there's multi-millions that you could potentially make from a cyber attack. Dude, a $10,000 payday is still pretty stinking nice.
Right. For an hour,
who you are.
A couple hours, or sending out an automated AI bot. Yeah, no way, dude. Like,
and then you think of the economies that some of these hackers most of these hackers are deriving from, like Russia, China. Like they're probably not these loaded criminals hanging out on yachts just trying to hack people. You know, like they don't have a lot of money in a lot of ways, and the dollar goes a long way. So 10K can really be a great payday. So it doesn't matter how small you are. It's just not. So that's one of the big things for me. But okay. My hot cake is done because we went way off topic, but that was pretty much what
we chased a bit of a squirrel, but we'll get it back. I
like the hot cake, but so my transition here, at least kind of where my brain goes, obviously because of the position that I sit in this company, is just like
we just lost audio.
That's just. I wish we had the capacity to like troll him, and we actually were pulling this in the background.
Hello. Can you
last thing we heard was from the position I sit in this company, and then it went out, which was perfect, by the way.
I have no one respects me in the seat I have. No, I would say so where my brain goes, Will, is the position that I'm sitting in this company is like no one's protected, right? Really, like you can do as much as you can on the front end of trying to stay protected and having best cybersecurity practices, and that's obviously what we teach. And we partner with MSPs and others to like help clients get the best security they possibly can get on the front end. But unfortunately, we live in a world of one-upmanship. Like there's just, no matter what you do to try to prevent someone to come in, if they want in, they're going to end up getting in. And if you don't have good security, you can't afford it, or you don't know what it looks like, then they're going to get in just from opportunity alone, right?
Yep.
Just, hey, it's easy to create some of these ransomware as a service types of stuff. These AI bots can go and scrape the internet and just tap into certain ports. Like it's just, no one's really protected. So where my brain goes is like, what are we doing to fill what I guess, I would call the cyber protection gap? So we have 10 trillion, right, in cybercrime. How much of that is like actually being covered on the back end so people can be made whole once one of these cyber incidents happens? And again, unfortunately, I feel like we live in a period of time where it's not if, but when. And if you look at cyber insurance, what is it, 20 billion? And that's like the largest statistic I could find in terms of the market size. So 10 trillion and 20 billion of coverage. There is a massive gap there. That means that less than 0.5% of companies have coverage. That to me is crazy, right? It's like, what's more likely to happen? Your building's going to burn down or you're going to get hacked in some way, right? Like there's going to be invoice fraud, like your system's going to go down, AWS, which stopped working, which we saw a couple of weeks ago. Like There's a multitude of different things that can happen in a short period of time that can keep you from making money or losing business that is just not protected. And to me, that's very unfortunate. And we need to work with these agents in order to fix it.
Yeah. So Matt, my question to you then, and because I know what you've been doing since you've been in your role, all of that considered, like thinking through the hotcakes discussion, which was pretty technical and more heavily on the cyber insurance side, what you're saying now, which is shifting us more towards insurance, let's take that and put it in the lap of the agent. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. And by the way, for those that are listening, if your CEO is currently in Bora Bora or is at his third vacation property, ours has been on calls with local agents over the last month, really trying to, Matt, I know you spent a lot of time. I mean, you've been on some with me where we've been getting on with agents and asking them, like, what challenges do you face? What isn't working? What is working around cyber insurance, right? I know that internally, here's the softball. I know that we've kind of come up with 3 primary kind of pillars or words around what agents are struggling with. But do you mind telling people on the call right now kind of what matters most to agents today?
Right. I appreciate the softball pitch, but through my interviews with agents and kind of being, looking at this space from the outside and just coming in and just trying to be curious, right? Like, hey, how can we help fill the cyber protection gap? We know it exists. We know people need cyber. What's going on? It really comes down to 3 things. It's protect, retain, and grow, right? It's for the agency, how do I protect myself? How do I limit my E&O? I have this huge book of all of these clients that have these different lines of insurance, but don't have cyber, and they could suffer an attack today, and I didn't offer it to them. So like, how do I just get in a position where I can protect myself, right? By just offering my clients cyber insurance. Right.
And let me pause you right there real quick, because we do have a diverse audience. And I just want to level. Will does this to me all the time. I finally get to do it to somebody else, right? Just to level set. When Matt says E&O, right? When we do this a lot of times on the cybersecurity side, we love our little 3-letter acronyms, right?
Great, aren't they?
When we say E&O, that's errors and omissions, right? Every agency has a line of professional liability insurance, right? That if they make an error or they omit a coverage and they are sued or taken to court for that, if litigation is pursued, they have insurance for that. So when we say protect against E&O, we are protecting against that agency who maybe either doesn't offer cyber and that gap is there and the customer has a claim and they're uncovered, or Maybe they offered cyber, but they didn't quantify risk, and the client only has $250,000 of coverage, but they had a $4 million loss, right? And they took to court, right? So anyway, go ahead, man. I know you were about to hit retain, but I want to make sure we level set.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you doing that, Andy. That makes a whole lot of sense. And, just a quick other couple points here, and then I'll move over to retain, is we have seen more lawsuits coming through to agencies who aren't getting their clients cyber insurance or offered them the wrong limits. And that one's the scariest to me, because the client might come in and be like, hey, I have this contract. I need $1 million to cyber. At least that's what it says. Can you give me $1 million? It's like, sure, here you go. And it doesn't cover their risk. They get hit and there's a lawsuit there. So I appreciate you hitting on that. The retain piece is interesting because the world that Matt, we live in.
Before you go on to that next subject, I think it's important for everyone to recognize, just because you have E&O coverage, or if, like I said there, if you're an MSP and you have tech E&O coverage, like either way, that doesn't mean you're not going to get sued, right? No. That means you have protection if you do get sued, right? So you have to carry the limits that are going to help you, hopefully navigate the majority of that lawsuit, or if not all of it, right? So that's the ideal. But then if your E&O does get hit, guess what happened to your rates? They're going to go up. Right. So even though it's important to have that E&O coverage, at the same time, and just kind of leads you into your next point, Matt, is like, if you have that E&O coverage, it's really important to recognize I don't want to have to use it. So I'm also going to do things that are going to protect me from having to ever have to file that claim. And that's where the conversations it sounds like you're having with these cyber agents, or these agents about cyber, is saying like, yeah, of course, we don't want to be writing coverage that we don't understand. And, we had that leadership retreat in Denver back in, what was it, August, September? I don't remember.
Well, I think it was
August.
Weeks of September.
Yeah. So, but one of the things we brought up there is that, and we see it, is agents are expected to be the expert on something, and yet cyber is so quickly changing, and they're writing rightly so, they're writing so many other lines of coverage that remain stagnant but take a lot of time and focus, that then when you have cyber, which also takes a lot of time, but it adds these elements that consistently change. Like we're talking about with AI now. I think generative AI stuff is going to start popping up on policies more and more. It already has a little bit.
For sure.
So if that kind of stuff starts to grow, it's like, well, here's just another thing I need to know. So when you look at things like that, right, we jump into this phase of, oh, well, I don't have time for it. But you're expected to be the expert, and there, for that reason, you need to take it seriously. So you can continue on, but I wanted to bring up that point.
No, that's great, and I think it segues nicely into the retain aspect. So again, the three things I've been hearing is, how do I protect myself, right? How do I retain my customers, and how do I grow? How can I make some money from this and bring more value to my customer, right? So when it comes to retain, there was famous venture capitalist Andreessen Horowitz. He had a line, I think it was about a decade ago, could be even longer, where he's like, software is eating the world, right? Every company is going to become a software company. And I would say at this point in time, every company that does business probably uses the internet to some extent. And if you're using the internet to some extent, then, you're vulnerable to some sort of attack. And cyber insurance, if done the right way, properly, and presented to the customer based off of their risks and needs, can cover that, right? And so we live in a world where people are doing business online, unless you're living under a rock or still getting cash payments somehow, right? And so when it comes to that, there's going to be an agent. There's going to be someone who understands cyber insurance and cyber security, and they're going to come in and they're going to take your client if you're an agent, and they're going to say, hey guys, do you have cyber insurance? No. Oh, why not? Do you not understand the vulnerability? Do you understand the financial impact if you go down for 10, 15, 30 days? Do you understand all the ways in which cyber insurance can cover you? No. Do you send invoices? Yeah. Do you know cyber insurance can cover that? No one ever told me that. You have another agent having those conversations with your client. What else is that client going to question? Right? Did I get the right workman's comp? Did I I didn't get this type of, wait a minute. Now I'm like, this guy seems like or gal seems like they're on my side trying to educate me. Maybe I want to look at doing business with them outside of just cyber. So we're seeing cyber can be a wedge in a positive way for you as an agent, or in a negative way in which someone else is going to leverage it to get in front of your client. And
That got me thinking the way you just phrased that. Like if you as an agent, MSPs and agents alike, cyber insurance tends to be this like mark on what otherwise is pretty understandable. Like everything else, it's like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to secure my client. I know how to insure my client. Then cyber shows up and it's like, oh, this thing's just the worst. It's the worst. But if it's annoying for you, it's probably also annoying for your client, right? So if you become a person who makes it not annoying, now all of a sudden you become a major problem solver. And to your point, Matt, they might be willing to take all their business to you because they're like, this is the first time I've ever had a flawless, easy experience with cyber insurance. Man, if this agent can write cyber insurance that quickly and easily, I wonder what they can do with the rest of my business, right? Like that's the mindset.
We use the term pretty regularly, close all the windows and lock all the doors. When you look at your book of business, right, make sure that there aren't any easy avenues into to your customer base. I was joking with a customer the other day. I remember when I was 18 and we traveled to Wynne, Arkansas for a summer baseball game. The coach said, close all the doors and lock all the windows, put all the windows up, shut the door. And, we're 17, 18-year-old kids. And it was like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, didn't think that much of it. Well, one of the guys on the very back of the bus left one window open. And we got on to the bus at that night at 10 o'clock to 1 million mosquitoes, and it was that one little window being open that completely and totally degraded the scenario, and that's, that's a Southern baseball story, right? But that's what cyber, an unlocked door or an open window on cyber, for one of your largest clients can cause a major issue for your agency.
For sure. Yeah. And it's just, again, I feel like it's just a matter of time. Like we're talking about human beings, we're talking about changes in technology. Like something's not going to work like it should. Someone's going to click the button they shouldn't. Like it's going to happen, right?
Yeah. So talk to us. Last one's grow. And I think that a lot of agents. Let's call a spade a spade. We've met with a lot of agents, right? And anybody. If you're trying to provide value or grow a relationship with somebody. And innately at the core of that conversation is what's in it for me. How can I benefit from this? Right. We talk E&O with agents. They get it. They understand. They don't want a lawsuit. We talk about retaining business, but to a degree, when you look at all the M&A and all the things that are going on in the insurance world, the number one thing that your average agency is going to look at is like, how do I make more money? Right. So how can an agency use, and I know we've needled on it already, but like, what are some of the granular tactics? How can we use cyber to grow a book of business, right?
Well, I think the first thing, and it seems probably fairly obvious, is that if you've worked really, really hard over these years building trust with clients and getting them to get other lines of insurance, and you haven't offered them cyber, and you can go in and you can be the expert and you can present why they need cyber insurance, how it's going to protect them and what have you, and you can bring them more value and capture a portion of that. Like you're missing, there's just money on the table, right? That you're just leaving there.
So you're saying the low hanging fruit is cross-selling within the current book of business.
That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great place to start, isn't it? It's like, hey, which of your clients have cyber insurance? At least the agents that I met with, it's like, well, not all of them, but a few of them. And the few of them that do, it's because they have a contract. So again, now it's like, well, do you want us to go look, make sure that those limits are correct? Because that's, could be something there. But no, just in general, it's like, hey, if I had time and effort, and I know the other lines of coverage pay out more, right? And this can kind of segue into our value proposition, if you will. But it's like, if I just had a way where I could help understand myself, financially quantify the downtime for my client, help them understand kind of the attack vectors based off their industry, number of employees, what have you, of where they might see a cyber attack happen or cyber incident happen. And I can help present them cyber insurance that makes sense for them. Then again, that's money in my pocket from my just current book, and I'm bringing them more value, right? So I think that is the first place to start. But also when it comes to prospecting, again, just to the retain part, if you can leverage cyber insurance as a way of going out to net new prospects and use it as a tool to try to see if you can get a few more to get bought into what you're doing, then you open up the door for other lines of coverage that you can see.
And that's it. Oh, sorry, Will, go ahead.
No, if you're I just am thinking, Matt, what you're saying, right? You brought up a point. You go to an agent and say, hey, what percentage of your clients have cyber insurance, or how many of your clients have cyber insurance? I mean, just pulling up some national averages here, right? 63% of businesses, meaning all businesses out there in the entire country, 63% of those businesses carry cyber insurance. But again, that's them saying they have it. But then that number drastically decreases when you go from larger businesses to smaller businesses. And it goes all the way back to what we said at the beginning of this, right? It's like, I'm too small to be a target. No one's going to fish my cupcake shop. Like, it's actually, they might. Yeah. And if you don't have that coverage to protect you, you're going to be in a world of hurt. And one of the slogans we say and hear all the time is, you're not too small to be hacked. You're just too small to make the news, right? And like that is the important part, and that's what leads the misconception. You hear if Uber has a cyber attack. You hear if some little hacker works his way into the Uber Slack channel, right? You're going to hear about that. That's national news. But you're not going to hear about that if a small tax prep shop down the street goes down, unless you're a customer there. And guess what? You're probably not going to be a customer there anymore because you don't like that they didn't hold your data safe.
Yeah. There's one thing, Matt, that you hit on there that I want to kind of, Will, you want to get me on call a spade a spade? How about this one? Let's double click into something that you said there a minute ago, Matt. There's something that you said that I really want to double click into right here.
Better than piggybacking.
So, I mean, we go back and forth between cybersecurity and the MSP and the agent. Let's talk directly to agents today. I've heard this. You've heard this, Will. I know you've probably heard it too. Let's say I'm the skeptical agent. Let's say I'm hanging out on the call today and I'm like, yeah, these guys, I don't know, man. Like, they're just opportunists and they don't really know what they're talking about. And I've been in insurance for 30 years, 40 years, and I wrote some cyber and it's like $3,000. Like, the premium's just not there, right? You're going to die. You're going to starve to death squirrel hunting out there, Matt. Like, I mean, why would I spend time, effort, and energy on cyber insurance when I've written a couple of these and the premiums are only $3,000? What I'm interested to know. I mean, I know what my retort to that would be, right? But I mean, what would you say to the agent that maybe looks at it as, hey, let's get down to brass tacks, and this is what the average premium is, and here's the percentage that I'm making, and by the way, it's not worth my time, effort, and energy to go out and spend all that time and make $300 a commission.
Well, Andy, I mean, I guess that's why we exist, would be to solve that problem. So I can give you that pitch, because I definitely understand it, right? I mean, if you have this huge book and it's easier just to go out and, work a deal, I'll call it an enterprise deal, like in SaaS, it could be like 100,000 or more. If you're getting workman's comp for that much, like compared to cyber, like you said, like, why am I putting the time and effort? So to me, I would counter that by saying, if I had an option as an agent, I'm sitting here with this big book, right, that none of them have cyber insurance. I know I'm taking on liability. I know there's another agent out there trying to talk to them, right, about cyber. And I had a partner that I could just kind of plug and play, and they could help me on that end, right, analyze this book, put together prospecting materials for me, help guide me through this whole process, have experts that can jump on calls with me to help kind of close these deals and stuff. So one, I don't have to go out and try to educate myself in a market that's consistently in flux and everything else, and just where do I begin type of deal. But also I don't have to go stick my head in the sand. I have this third option where I have this partner that can work with me to do that. Why not? Like, why don't I want to make more money and bring down my liability? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great, that's why I asked, because I think that's a great perspective, right? That's it's a partnership perspective, right? And I mean, you're looking at lowering liability and adding commission and all that. The way that I look at it, and the way that I, as a producer, as a former producer, right, as a new guy on the block, I mean, the first time that when I got licensed, I'm 43 today, -7. I was 36, 37 years old when I got licensed. I was late to the game, right? And as a 36-year-old first time agent showing up in an area that's super relational,
I know where you're
right?
going to go with this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
yes.
I'm sitting there going like, okay, I can go knock on these manufacturers' doors and I can ask them to take a shot at their work comp, but their brother-in-law is their freaking work comp agent, or they've been with the same bank, for the last 40 years. Like, how do I show up in a different way? And, oh, by the way, pricing on work comp. Now we're just using work comp, but you can apply this to business auto. You can apply it to property insurance. Those established markets that have been around for, tens or hundreds of years, that there's way less price variance on those, right?
Sure.
So number one, I'm showing up in an established market. I'm showing up with a ton of competition around me that knows work comp or knows property insurance. And I'm not able to go in there and say, hey, look at this 50% price cut, because there's not a 50% price cut without me cooking the books or giving you an inferior program, right? So in cyber, and this would be my retort, right, is in cyber, yeah, the cyber might be $4,000, right? But what's the EPLI? What's the work comp, right? If the cyber's $4,000, but that's your way in the door to position yourself as a risk advisor and to show up different than your competition, the play is not the cyber. Cyber just gets you to the table. The play becomes the work comp, or the play becomes, we look a lot of times at like counseling services, right? Their cyber exposure based on their revenue may not be, it may be a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 policy. But if you get all 20 clinics property insurance, that's a pretty good little chunk of change, So just speaking directly to the agents that maybe have that idea, it's a strategy. It's not 100% accurate all the time. It's not something that everybody's willing to push into, but it is absolutely a strategy that can pay off.
And where you went with that, I love, and what popped to mind almost immediately too, is my brain went to the young agents, right?
Yes.
People that are just coming out of college, that are like, oh man, how do I make a break in this industry? How do I differentiate myself? How do I position myself as kind of a need be, knowing that Stacy's been here 20 years and has this huge book. Like, I'm not going to build that overnight, no matter how good I am at building relationships, right? And it's like, you're digital native. Like you understand technology probably better than your peers.
Right? Yes.
Why don't you double down on that, leverage that, and become the cyber expert, right? And why don't you work with a partner to help get you spun up sooner rather than later, so you can provide that value to your agency and make it so they're like, man, this guy's invaluable. We can't get rid of him or her. So that's kind of where my brain went to, is for the younger agents, this is a huge opportunity for them. To latch on to something that can differentiate them and kind of help with their career progression.
Awesome. Well, I feel like it's a good place to end on. Any final thoughts, guys? What's one key takeaway from today you want to make sure everyone walks away with?
I think the key takeaway from me would be, if you're an agency and cyber is not being prioritized, I would take a really strong look as to why not. Because and if the reason why it's not being prioritized because it seems too difficult, or it seems like there's not enough money in it, or what have you, that's again where it's like, hey, this is why we exist as a company, is to be your partner, to make this an active motion for you, to help your organization make more money and bring more value to your clients, right? And so that's my one thing, is just, if it's not something you're prioritizing, look at as to why not. And if it's because it's too difficult, what have you, that's why we exist, and we'd love to continue those conversations, right?
Yeah.
And that's, so my final thought is going to take that and expand off of it. And this is going to go back to my former coaching days, a little bit more hardlined, right? If you are that agency that has decided to kind of put your head in the sand and be like, oh, we'll deal with it when we deal with it, know that there is somebody out there in your locale, in your geography, in your clientele that is pushing into it, and they're coming for your business, right? And I don't mean to seem crass in that way. I'm not trying to be alarmist or lead with fear, but the truth is, risk is evolving, insurance is evolving, right? And if you're going to just kind of go, hey, like we'll deal with this as it comes up, somebody around you is going, this is a differentiator for me. I'm going to jump into this thing, and those folks will absolutely be targeting your clients.
Yeah, that's actually leads into mine. Matt, you made a comment earlier. No one's really fully protected. We always like to say it's impossible to prevent 100% of cyber attacks. So just because you invest in really good security doesn't mean you shouldn't get insurance. And on the flip side of that, though, just because you have enough security to get the insurance doesn't necessarily mean you're secure enough. In the same way that we do an analysis on a business's potential loss quantification and their risk potential for loss, in the same way a business's risk is unique on the front end too. So having some sort of cybersecurity expert you work with who can help assess you on the front end, working with a cyber insurance knowledgeable agent or broker who can assess you on that right of boom side of things. Both are crucial in this digital age, because to Matt's point earlier, I said this on a webinar yesterday. I worked in kind of standard property and casualty prior to coming to this company, and the number of losses to like businesses due to fire or liability claims or things like that were nothing compared to what you read on a daily basis about cyber attacks. And that article I showed at the beginning, they're getting jacked up consistently. So this was awesome. Matt, thanks for being on here, man.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah,
I'm glad everybody now knows you're real, because you've refused to come on any media content since the day you started at this company.
I just thought that it would probably be worth our while as a company to invite smart people onto Hotcakes, and
you invited yourself.
Yeah.
Matt's like, I thought it'd be good to invite someone smart because the hosts are morons, so I'm going to invite myself.
We have to even it out, right? We have to even it out somehow. So exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
all right.
before we go, just to get this in at the last minute, tell Sophie hello, and I miss her, and I hope she has a wonderful rest.
If you didn't catch the beginning of this podcast, Sophie is a dog. Andy's not just like pining for some person out in Denver. Bye, Sophie. Enjoy the sun. And everybody else, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Hotcakes again soon.
All right.